Welcome to Speak Up, the podcast where we not only dive into fascinating topics but also help you improve your English by listening to engaging conversations. I'm Ryan, one of your hosts, and as always, I'm joined by the amazing Priya. How are you doing today, Priya?
Hi, Ryan. I'm doing great, and I'm super excited for today's episode. For all our listeners out there, if you're here to sharpen your English skills while diving into a truly inspiring topic, you're in the right place. Today, we're talking about someone who's redefining what it means to dream big and take action, Elon Musk. He's not just a name, he's a force shaping the future as we know it.
Exactly, Priya. Elon Musk is a household name now, but what makes him truly fascinating is the sheer breadth of his work. He's involved in ventures that tackle global and even interplanetary challenges. Think Tesla, which is changing the way we approach sustainable energy and transportation, SpaceX, which is revolutionizing space exploration, Neuralink, which connects humans and technology in mind-boggling ways, and even The Boring Company, which aims to solve urban congestion through tunnels. He's like a real-life Tony Stark.
That's such a great comparison, Ryan. And what's even more impressive is how he uses his unique approach to problem solving. Musk isn't just throwing money at problems. He applies what's called first principles thinking, where he breaks down problems to their most basic elements and builds solutions from the ground up. This allows him to tackle challenges most people would find impossible or too risky. It's a mindset we can all learn from, whether you're learning English or thinking about your own future goals.
Absolutely, Priya. And when you think about it, Musk's influence goes beyond just the companies he runs. He's setting new standards for innovation and inspiring a whole generation of thinkers, entrepreneurs, and dreamers. Whether it's his vision of colonizing Mars, making renewable energy more accessible, or even offering global internet through Starlink, he's tackling problems that impact all of us. And that's what we're here to discuss today.
Right. And for all our listeners, this is not just about Elon Musk as a person. It's about what we can learn from his way of thinking and working. His journey is a perfect example of how curiosity, determination, and a willingness to take risks can lead to incredible achievements. And speaking of learning, this podcast is your opportunity to not only improve your understanding of his work, but also enhance your English by listening to natural conversations.
Exactly. So over the next couple of minutes, we're going to explore Musk's major ventures, the challenges he faces, and the unique vision he brings to the table. We'll also discuss why he's such a polarizing figure and what the future might look like because of his work. By the end of this episode, we hope you'll feel inspired and maybe even learn a new word or two to add to your English vocabulary. Ready to get started, Priya?
Let's do it, Ryan. Stay tuned, listeners, because this is going to be a fascinating and thought-provoking conversation about one of the most impactful figures of our time. And remember, keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking up.
So let's dive into what makes Elon Musk a true visionary. One thing that really stands out is his drive to solve humanity's biggest, most existential challenges. Whether it's climate change, which he's tackling through Tesla and renewable energy, or ensuring the survival of our species by making us a multi-planetary civilization with SpaceX, Musk doesn't think small. He's laser-focused on these huge issues, and it's inspiring to see someone who's not just talking about them, but actively working to find solutions.
That's a great point, Ryan. What I find particularly interesting is how Musk approaches these challenges. He uses a method called first principles thinking, where instead of relying on assumptions or existing knowledge, he breaks problems down to their most basic elements and then builds solutions from there. For example, when developing reusable rockets for SpaceX, he didn't just accept the massive costs as a given. He analyzed the raw materials, figured out how to streamline production, and drastically reduced costs. It's a way of thinking that most of us can learn from, no matter what field we're in.
Exactly, Priya. And it's not just about solving problems. It's about how he redefines what's possible. Take Tesla, for instance. 10 years ago, people thought electric vehicles were impractical and unappealing. Now they're becoming the norm, thanks to Musk's relentless push to improve battery technology and make EVs desirable. And with SpaceX, landing rockets vertically sounded like science fiction, but now it's routine. It's as if Musk refuses to accept limitations, and that's what makes him such a powerful force in innovation.
Absolutely, Ryan, but here's the thing. This kind of relentless ambition also raises some important ethical questions. Musk's approach is often criticized for being too aggressive or even reckless. For instance, his rapid timelines and high-pressure work environments at Tesla and SpaceX have faced backlash. Some argue that his methods prioritize speed and results over the well-being of employees. Then there's the question of equity. How accessible are these technologies to the average person? Sure, Tesla is amazing, but it's still out of reach for many people financially.
That's a valid concern, Priya. I think it's fair to say that Musk's approach isn't for everyone. He operates at an intensity that not everyone can or should match. But on the flip side, isn't that what makes him effective? He's willing to take risks and push boundaries where others would hesitate. I'd argue that for the kind of world-changing goals he's chasing, you almost have to be a bit relentless, maybe even controversial. What do you think? Is Musk's vision too ambitious? Or is this exactly what we need right now?
That's such a good question, Ryan. I think it's a bit of both. On one hand, his vision is undeniably ambitious. Some might even say unrealistic at times. Colonizing Mars? Creating a brain-machine interface? These are ideas that sound straight out of a science fiction movie. But on the other hand, isn't it that same level of ambition that drives progress? Even if Musk doesn't achieve all of these goals in his lifetime, he's laying the groundwork for others to build on. And honestly, in a world where so many people play it safe, having someone like Musk who's willing to think big is refreshing.
I completely agree, Priya. It's like he's willing to fail in ways most people wouldn't even dare to try. And even when he does fail, and let's not forget he's had plenty of failures, he learns from them and keeps going. That resilience, combined with his focus on solving big-picture problems, is what sets him apart. Whether you love him or find him frustrating, there's no denying that Musk is shaping the future in a way few others are.
Exactly. And as we continue this conversation, I think it's important to look at both sides. The groundbreaking innovations and the challenges they bring. Musk's story isn't just about success. It's also about risk, controversy, and how far we're willing to push ourselves to create a better world. So, listeners, stick with us as we dive deeper into the specific ventures Musk is leading and the impact they're having on all of us.
All right, let's dive into Tesla, one of Musk's most well-known and impactful ventures. Tesla has completely revolutionized how we think about transportation and energy. When it started, electric vehicles, or EVs, were seen as slow, impractical, and kind of boring. Now they're sleek, fast, and in many cases, outperform traditional cars. Priya, what do you think is the secret behind Tesla's success?
You're right, Ryan. Tesla didn't just make EVs viable, it made them desirable. And I think a big part of that success comes from Musk's focus on the entire ecosystem. It's not just about the cars, it's about the batteries, the charging infrastructure, and even the energy storage solutions like the Powerwall. By addressing these interconnected issues, Tesla has managed to tackle the biggest barriers to EV adoption. Plus, let's not forget the impact of Tesla's branding. Musk has this way of making technology exciting, almost aspirational.
Exactly. And it's fascinating to see how Musk's vision for Tesla goes beyond cars. He's essentially trying to create a renewable energy ecosystem, from solar panels to grid storage, making sustainable energy accessible and practical for everyday life. The gigafactories play a huge role here. They're not just about producing cars, but also advancing battery technology. Did you know that Tesla's advancements in battery efficiency have made it a leader not only in transportation, but also in energy storage for homes and businesses?
That's a great point, Ryan. But while Tesla has had incredible success, it's also faced significant challenges. For example, the production bottlenecks with the Model 3. Musk himself called it production hell. And then there's the issue of competition. Every major automaker is now jumping into the EV space, from Ford to Volkswagen. While Tesla had the first mover advantage, the question is whether it can maintain its lead as the market gets more crowded. What do you think?
That's definitely a concern, but I think Tesla has two big advantages. First, it has brand loyalty. Tesla owners are almost like a community, and that's hard to replicate. Second, Tesla's focus on innovation is relentless. Take their work on autonomous driving. Full self-driving, or FSD, has faced a lot of criticism, but it's also a game changer if Tesla can get it right. Musk isn't just thinking about electric cars, he's thinking about cars that drive themselves. That kind of forward thinking keeps Tesla ahead of the curve.
True, but autonomous driving also brings up a lot of ethical and regulatory challenges. For instance, who's responsible in the case of an accident? And are these systems really ready for widespread use? Some critics argue that Tesla is rushing to deploy FSD before it's fully safe. It's a classic example of Musk's move fast and innovate philosophy, which can be both a strength and a liability.
That's a valid critique, Priya, but I think Tesla's willingness to take risks is also what has pushed the industry forward. If Musk had waited for perfect conditions, we might still be waiting for EVs to go mainstream. And it's not just about the cars. Tesla's work on energy storage and renewable energy is just as important. Imagine a world where solar energy powers your home, your car, and even entire cities. That's the vision Tesla is working toward.
It's definitely an ambitious vision, and I think Tesla deserves credit for making sustainability cool. But one thing I worry about is accessibility. Electric vehicles are still expensive for the average person, even with government incentives. If Tesla really wants to lead a global transition to sustainable energy, it needs to figure out how to make its technology more affordable. Do you think that's something Musk is prioritizing?
Good question. I think affordability is part of the plan. Musk has mentioned wanting to create a $25,000 EV, which would be a game changer. But the challenge is scaling up production while keeping costs low. That's where the gigafactories come in. They're designed to produce batteries and cars at scale, which should eventually bring prices down. It's not going to happen overnight, but I do think Musk is playing the long game here.
I hope so, because the potential impact of widespread EV adoption is massive, not just in reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but also in creating a cleaner, quieter urban environment. Imagine cities without the noise and pollution of gas-powered cars. It's a future I'd love to see, and Tesla is definitely helping us get closer to it.
Absolutely, Priya. Tesla is more than just a car company. It's a catalyst for change. So far, we've talked about how Elon Musk is revolutionizing transportation and energy with Tesla. But if Tesla is about reshaping life on Earth, SpaceX is about taking humanity beyond it. Priya, doesn't it feel like Musk's ventures are all connected by this underlying theme of sustainability and survival?
Absolutely, Ryan. It's like Musk has this dual focus, solving today's problems on Earth while preparing for tomorrow's challenges in space. With SpaceX, he's tackling what could be humanity's ultimate insurance policy, becoming a multiplanetary species. The idea is that if something catastrophic happens on Earth, like climate change or an asteroid strike, we'd still have a chance to survive. It's ambitious, but also kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Exactly. And SpaceX has already achieved so much in a relatively short time. Think about the reusable rockets, like the Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. Before SpaceX, the cost of launching anything into space was astronomical, pun intended. By creating rockets that can land and be reused, Musk has slashed costs and made space exploration more accessible. It's not just about saving money. It's about making space a viable frontier for innovation.
That's a game changer, Ryan. But let's not forget the Mars mission. Musk has been vocal about his goal to establish a self-sustaining city on Mars. The Starship project is central to that vision. It's designed to carry large numbers of people and cargo to Mars. But here's where it gets tricky. How realistic is this goal? Colonizing Mars isn't just about landing there. It's about surviving in a hostile environment, building infrastructure, and solving countless scientific challenges. Some critics say Musk is too optimistic. What's your take on that?
You're right. It's an enormous challenge. But I think Musk thrives on the impossible. His vision for Mars isn't just about exploration. It's about long-term survival. He often says, We need to become a multi-planetary species to ensure the survival of humanity. And while there are countless obstacles, SpaceX has already laid the groundwork. Starship, for instance, is being tested and refined constantly. Musk knows this isn't a short-term project. It's decades in the making. Even if he doesn't get there in his lifetime, he's setting the stage for future generations.
True, but let's not ignore the ethical and logistical questions. Who governs Mars? How do we ensure we're not harming potential ecosystems there? And what about the resources and energy being invested in space when there are so many problems here on Earth? Musk argues that we can do both, fix Earth and explore space, but not everyone is convinced. Some see it as a distraction or even an escape plan for the wealthy. How do you think we reconcile these concerns?
That's a tough one, Priya. I think Musk's response would be that space exploration isn't an either-or situation. It's not about giving up on Earth. It's about expanding humanity's possibilities. And let's not forget, many of the technologies developed for space exploration end up benefiting life here on Earth. For example, advancements in materials science, energy storage, and telecommunications all have roots in space research. Plus, Musk's Starlink project is already making an impact on Earth by providing global internet access, even in remote areas.
Starlink is an interesting one. On the one hand, it's a brilliant idea. Imagine giving people in rural or underserved regions access to high-speed internet. That could revolutionize education, healthcare, and even economic opportunities. But there's also concern about the sheer number of satellites Musk plans to launch. Some scientists worry about space debris and the impact on astronomical research. It's a classic Musk scenario. Groundbreaking innovation, but not without controversy.
Exactly. Musk seems to thrive in that space where ambition meets criticism. And let's not forget the cultural impact of SpaceX. When was the last time people got this excited about space exploration? From the Falcon Heavy launches to the Crew Dragon missions, Musk has reignited global interest in the cosmos. He's made space feel accessible, even if most of us will never leave Earth. It's a reminder that exploration is part of who we are as humans.
That's so true, Ryan. SpaceX is more than just rockets and Mars. It's about inspiring the next generation to dream big. But as we look at Musk's achievements, it's also important to ask, what are the limits of this ambition? Can we balance technological progress with ethical responsibility? Those are questions we'll continue to explore as we move into our next segment on Neuralink and the Boring Company. Two ventures that bring Musk's vision even closer to home, literally and figuratively.
That's right, Priya. So far, we've explored Musk's work with Tesla and SpaceX, but let's pivot to something even more futuristic: Neuralink and the Boring Company. If Tesla is about fixing Earth's energy problem and SpaceX is about taking us beyond Earth, Neuralink is focused on redefining humanity itself. Priya, Neuralink is one of those ventures that feels like science fiction. What's your take on it?
You're right, Ryan. It does feel like science fiction. Neuralink's goal is to develop brain-machine interfaces that could allow humans to directly interact with computers. Musk envisions a future where we could cure neurological disorders like paralysis and Alzheimer's, and eventually even enhance human cognition. It's groundbreaking, but also deeply complex. There's the technical challenge of implanting devices in the brain and the ethical questions around merging humans with machines. It's the kind of project where the line between innovation and controversy is razor thin.
Exactly. And Musk has said that one of his motivations for Neuralink is to address the existential risk of artificial intelligence. He believes that if AI becomes too powerful, humanity might need to merge with it to stay relevant. Neuralink could act as a bridge between human intelligence and AI, giving us a way to compete or collaborate with advanced systems. It's a bold idea, but one that raises big questions. For example, Priya, what happens to privacy and individuality if our brains are connected to networks?
That's a huge concern, Ryan. Imagine if your thoughts could be hacked or manipulated. That's the kind of dystopian scenario people worry about. And even if Neuralink starts with medical applications, like helping paralyzed individuals regain mobility, it's inevitable that the technology could be commercialized or misused. On the flip side, though, the potential benefits are extraordinary. Imagine restoring sight to the blind or creating interfaces that allow people to communicate without words. It's a double-edged sword, and we're only just beginning to understand what it could mean.
True, and I think that's what makes Neuralink so fascinating and polarizing. But let's switch gears to something more down to earth, literally. The Boring Company might not be as flashy as Tesla or Neuralink, but it's tackling a problem that affects millions of people every day. Traffic congestion. Musk's idea is simple. Create a network of underground tunnels to streamline urban transportation. Priya, do you think the Boring Company is the solution cities need?
I think it's an intriguing solution, Ryan. The concept of building tunnels to reduce surface traffic makes sense, especially in densely populated cities. Musk's proposal for high-speed underground transit systems, like the Hyperloop, could revolutionize how we move within cities and even between them. But like Neuralink, it's not without challenges. Building tunnels is expensive, and there are logistical hurdles like land rights, construction timelines, and the environmental impact of digging. Plus, there's the question of accessibility. Will these systems be affordable for everyone or just the wealthy?
Great points, Priya. I think what sets the Boring Company apart is its focus on cost reduction and efficiency. Musk has said that traditional tunneling is slow and expensive, so the Boring Company is working on ways to make it faster and cheaper. For example, they're developing custom boring machines and experimenting with smaller tunnel diameters. It's a classic Musk move. Identify a bottleneck and then innovate to break through it. But like you said, the real test will be whether these projects can scale and benefit the masses.
And let's not forget the cultural aspect, Ryan. Musk has this ability to make even boring things, pun intended, exciting. Whether it's selling flamethrowers or building test tunnels in Las Vegas, he finds a way to capture people's imagination. But beyond the hype, there's a legitimate question about whether the Boring Company can deliver on its promises. For example, the Las Vegas tunnel system is operational, but it's far from the futuristic vision Musk originally pitched. Is this a sign of growing pains or a reality check on what's possible?
I'd say it's a bit of both, Priya. Innovation often starts with lofty ambitions, and the path to success is rarely a straight line. What's consistent with Musk is his willingness to take risks and challenge the status quo. Neuralink and the Boring Company may seem like niche projects compared to Tesla and SpaceX, but they're part of the same larger vision. A future where technology improves our lives in ways we couldn't have imagined. That's what makes Musk such a compelling figure.
Absolutely, Ryan. Whether it's connecting our brains to computers or reshaping how we move through cities, Musk is pushing boundaries in every direction. But as we've seen, these innovations also come with significant challenges and ethical considerations. Up next, we'll explore the bigger picture. Musk's legacy, the controversies surrounding him, and what it all means for the future. Stay with us, listeners.
That's right, Priya. So far, we've covered Elon Musk's incredible ventures: Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and the Boring Company. But no conversation about Musk is complete without addressing the challenges and controversies that surround him. Priya, Musk is often called a genius and a visionary, but he's also been criticized for his leadership style and polarizing personality. Where do you think the line between innovation and controversy lies with him?
That's a great question, Ryan. On one hand, Musk's unconventional methods have produced extraordinary results. But on the other hand, his leadership style has been described as intense, even harsh. We've heard reports of extreme pressure in Tesla and SpaceX workplaces, with employees working long hours under tight deadlines. While some thrive in that kind of environment, others argue it's unsustainable and even exploitative. It raises the question, does the end always justify the means?
Right. And it's not just about his companies. Musk himself is a polarizing figure. His outspoken nature, especially on social media, often lands him in hot water. Remember his controversial tweets about taking Tesla private or some of his comments during the pandemic? While his fans see him as refreshingly honest and unfiltered, Others think he crosses the line into recklessness. It's a fine balance. Do you think his boldness helps or hurts his image?
I think it's a bit of both, Ryan. Musk's boldness is part of what makes him successful. He's not afraid to challenge norms or speak his mind, which inspires people to think differently. But there's also a downside. Some of his actions can overshadow the incredible work his companies are doing. For example, his recent forays into politics and public debates have drawn criticism for being divisive. It's a reminder that being a leader isn't just about innovation. It's also about managing your influence responsibly.
Exactly. And beyond his personality, there are valid criticisms of his ventures. For instance, Tesla has faced scrutiny over its workplace practices, the safety of its autonomous driving technology, and its environmental impact despite being a green company. SpaceX, as innovative as it is, has raised concerns about space debris and the commercialization of space. Even Neuralink faces ethical dilemmas about privacy and human enhancement. How do you think Musk balances these challenges, Priya?
That's the tricky part, Ryan. Musk is a visionary, but visionaries often operate on the edge of what's acceptable. He's focused on pushing boundaries, which means he doesn't always stop to address every concern along the way. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's part of why he gets things done. But it also leaves a lot of unanswered questions about the long-term consequences of his work. Can we trust that the risks are worth the rewards?
It's a tough call. One thing I admire about Musk is his resilience. He's faced countless setbacks, whether it's Tesla's early struggles, failed rocket launches at SpaceX, or public criticism, and yet he keeps pushing forward. That kind of determination is inspiring, but it also means he's willing to take risks most people wouldn't dare. That's both his greatest strength and his biggest vulnerability.
Absolutely. And I think it's fair to say that Musk embodies a paradox. He's a genius who sometimes stumbles over his own ambition. He's a leader who inspires millions but also divides opinion. At the end of the day, though, the question isn't whether Musk is perfect, because no one is. It's about whether the world is better because of his work. And for all the controversy, it's hard to argue that he hasn't made a significant impact.
Well said, Priya. Love him or criticize him, Musk is reshaping industries and inspiring people to dream bigger. Up next, we'll zoom out even further and look at Musk's legacy. What will he leave behind, and how will future generations view him? Stay with us, listeners, as we wrap up this fascinating conversation about Elon Musk's role in building the future today.
That's right, Ryan. We're heading into the final segment where we'll reflect on Musk's lasting impact and ask the ultimate question: is his vision the one we need for the future?
We're coming to the final stretch of our discussion on Elon Musk. We've covered his revolutionary ventures, the controversies surrounding him, and the challenges he faces. But now, let's take a step back and think about his legacy. Priya, how do you think history will remember Elon Musk? Will he be seen as a hero, a disruptor, or perhaps something in between?
That's a tough question, Ryan, because Musk's legacy is still very much in the making. On one hand, he's already achieved things that were once thought to be impossible. Tesla is leading the charge in electric vehicles. SpaceX is making space exploration affordable and more frequent. And Neuralink and the Boring Company are pushing the boundaries of what technology can do for us. I think future generations will look back and see him as a visionary who changed the course of humanity.
That's true, Priya. But there's also the flip side. Musk's approach has often been controversial, and he's definitely not everyone's cup of tea. Some will argue that his focus on big, audacious goals sometimes comes at the expense of the people and systems around him. His leadership style, public persona, and some of his more reckless decisions, like his tweets or the handling of Tesla's production challenges, may complicate his legacy. But maybe that's part of what makes him such an interesting figure. He's not afraid to take risks even if it means facing criticism.
I think you're right, Ryan. He'll probably be remembered as both a genius and a polarizing figure. What fascinates me is how his story could inspire future generations. People often think of Elon Musk as the kind of person who makes the impossible seem achievable. He shows us that it's okay to aim high and fail along the way. Because failure, for Musk, is just part of the process. And even if he doesn't accomplish every goal, the fact that he's gotten this far is already a huge achievement.
Exactly. And while we're on the topic of legacy, let's not forget that Musk has shifted how we think about technology and innovation. He's not just about making products or companies, he's about changing systems and mindsets. With Tesla, he didn't just want to build electric cars, he wanted to transform the entire automotive industry. With SpaceX, it wasn't just about launching rockets. It was about reducing the cost of space travel and making space accessible to everyone. Musk's approach has had a ripple effect across industries, pushing others to think bigger and bolder. What do you think the world will look like if his vision truly succeeds?
I think it's a world that's drastically different from the one we know now. A world where electric cars are the norm, sustainable energy is widespread, and the dream of living on Mars might actually become a reality. Imagine a future where we no longer rely on fossil fuels for energy, where the clean, green technologies Musk is developing today are ubiquitous. We could have fully autonomous transportation, renewable energy grids powered by solar and wind, and cities with minimal traffic and pollution thanks to underground transportation systems like those Musk envisions with the Boring Company. It's a world that feels a lot more sustainable and futuristic.
It's definitely an exciting picture. And with that vision of the future, I think we also have to consider the deeper societal changes Musk's work could spark. If we become a multi-planetary species, for example, what does that mean for our ideas of national borders, citizenship, or even what it means to be human? Musk is essentially opening the door to a whole new frontier, not just in terms of technology, but in how we think about our place in the universe.
That's such a good point. Musk's vision is about more than just the next big thing. It's about humanity's future, our survival, our growth, and our place in a larger, interconnected universe. Whether or not Musk succeeds in all his endeavors, he's certainly shifting the conversation on what's possible. And I think that's his most enduring legacy, inspiring us to think beyond what's immediate and tangible and to imagine a future that's bigger than we can even comprehend right now.
I couldn't agree more, Priya. Ultimately, Musk's legacy will likely be a mix of admiration for his breakthroughs and debate over the ethical dilemmas his work raises. But whether you see him as a hero or a disruptor, there's no denying that his efforts are shaping the future in ways we're just beginning to understand.
Exactly, Ryan. Whether Musk is the hero we need or the controversial figure we deserve, he's undeniably one of the most influential people of our time. As we wrap up, it's clear that his impact on technology, society, and the future will continue to unfold in the years ahead.
Well said, Priya. So, to our listeners, whether you love him or hate him, there's no doubt that Elon Musk is building the future today. And while we may not agree with every decision he makes, we can certainly appreciate his drive to think bigger and push humanity towards something greater.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Elon Musk's world-changing vision. We hope this conversation has sparked some thoughts and maybe even inspired you to think about how you can impact the world in your own way. Remember, as we always say here at Speak Up, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep imagining what's possible.
Exactly, Priya. Thanks for listening, everyone. And don't forget to subscribe to Speak Up for more insightful discussions on big ideas, technology, and the world around us. Until next time, stay curious, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode.